He said the Comanche are the finest light cavalry in the world. Now just think about that.
Oh, ride, Captain Hays, through the dust and the flame, a shadow of justice, the wind knows your name.
Between the past and present, probably even life and death, lives the legend of Texas Ranger Captain Jack Hays. Everything I'm telling you is true, but well, the rest of it is just Texas. At first, I did not believe the stories I had heard about this man until I fought alongside Captain Jack Hays. The Apache Flacco said it best: me and Red Wing, not afraid to go to hell together. Captain Jack, heat brave, not afraid to go to hell by himself. Jack Hays. Tell me about Jack Hays and his abilities to train his men to outride and outshoot the Comanches.
Well, first off, you've got to realize that I think it was General Crook, I think it was, attributed this thing to General Crook. He said the Comanche are the finest light cavalry in the world. Now just think about that. The finest light cavalry in the world. They learned to slide on the other side of their horse away from the enemy so that the enemy had nothing to shoot at except the horse. They could fire a bow underneath the horse's neck, galloping at full speed. They could do all this stuff. So now that's the foe that Jack Hays faced. Just start with that, okay? All right, 1840, about 1840. In fact, I think the Battle of Walker Creek was exactly 1840. Anyway, Jack Hays finds himself surrounded by Comanches, and he knows they're the best, but he's had a lot of experience. And he has made these observations through his intellect to figure things out about how to fight Comanches. For one thing, the Comanches would usually bait the cavalry, and they'd send a little old bitty band out there and get the cavalry to chase them to where 100 Comanches would be waiting. You know, that was the classic Comanche battle, is lure them into a place where we can wipe them out. And of course, they were used to fighting other Indians. The Indian wars against the Americans, U.S. cavalry, that's a new deal for them. So they find themselves about 1840 confronting Captain Jack, they called him. I think it was Yellow Jacket. I believe it was a hero of the fight. Anyway, Indian. Or maybe it's another fight. Jack Hays had gained a reputation already for being a formidable opponent. And they find themselves at Enchanted Rock, of course. And by this time, Jack Hays had taught his men such subtle strategies as you don't want to ride up on a Comanche warrior on his right side. Why? Because most Comanches are just like us. They're right-handed, and they just pop you easy as heck. Now, if you ride up on the left side, that's a more difficult shot. You're not going to change hands. You're still right-handed. Or you could try to shoot with your left hand. That don't work. So he told his guys, always ride up on the left side. Is that right? Yeah, you're the Comanche. His left side. So he's got to do this. So that's hard to do. And the Army early figured out that a Comanche or Apache warrior could keep an arrow in the air, get out of his quiver, and shoot, riding down on you at almost a constant stream of arrows, while you got a Springfield single shot. Now, can you imagine? Boom, you shoot once. You got to flip that thing up, drag that cartridge out. Maybe you can get it out. Maybe your fingernails are torn by trying to drag that thing out like Custer. And he can keep those arrows coming at you. Maybe it doesn't hit you, but can you imagine trying to dodge arrows coming at you every 5 seconds? You can't aim. So the Army, under advice from Jack Hays and other experts, said, shoot the horse. You know, we need a caliber and a bullet big enough to hit the horse, because at least you'll get the warrior down. Then he's on foot running at you. And throughout history, from medieval times, you know, the most powerful man in the battlefield is a guy on a horse. Why? Because he's above you. He's got all these accoutrements and weapons that he can slash you. And here's what's often taken for granted. Do you ever see those paintings where these guys that are trying to defend against the cavalry have got these little sharp hook things, halberds, and poking them at the horse? You know what those were? Those were to cut the bridle of the horse so that you couldn't control your horse. See, as soon as you cut that, he can't control his horse. Now you might get him, but still he's above you. He might have armor. He was a formidable guy. Just take it back into Spanish linguistics. The word caballero, which means gentleman, it actually means a guy on a horse. See, so the gentleman, the highest guy in society, is a guy on a horse. So he's the most formidable thing on the battlefield, and Jack Hays taught his men that, and he taught them all kind of other, I would say characteristics, but strategy on how to fight Comanches.
Well, you know, what I understand was he taught them how to first use their rifle, and once they shot the rifle, they threw it on the ground, and then they brought out number one pistol. They had two, and they emptied it, and then the Comanches said, well, you know, this guy's done, but yet they surprised them because they had more, you know, they had another pistol.
Well, you're right. I forgot to mention that. Back up to Enchanted Rock, the Battle of Walker Creek, it was the first time the Indians confronted a foe who shot multiple times with a weapon. They were used to just being shot at once, and then they would rush. See, that was a Comanche technique. Have to get them to fire, those soldiers, and then once they fire, rush them. Well, that gun, they did that at Walker Creek, and the Rangers just kept firing. Why? Because they had probably 2 5-shot Patterson pistols. And although a Patterson is hard to reload, and you have to take the cylinder out to reload it, it's a major nightmare. For that reason, a lot of Texas Rangers in Jack Hays' company carried an extra cylinder already loaded. So then all you had to do is put the cylinder, and then you're in the battery again. But the Comanches charged them, and after they lured them, that didn't work because Jack Hays said, oh no, we're not doing that, that's a trap. So he waited over there, he saw them in the trees. He said, oh no, we're not doing that, don't anybody chase them. Okay, so he already knew that. Experience, you know, it's like the soldier on the battlefield, like Vietnam, Afghanistan, anywhere. You learn, if you can live long enough, how to fight your foe. And so finally they get into close-up battle. They'd already shot their single-shot carbine, and so now they pull out their pistols. And it was the first time in history that a repeating pistol proved its value on horseback. It was like a monumental, pivotal milestone in history. Because after that, the Comanches said, ooh, we don't want any part of that. One of the Comanche chiefs, I think it was Yellow Jacket, said, me and Black Dog, or whatever his name was, we not afraid to charge hell together. but Colonel Jack, he not afraid to charge hell by himself.
That's great.
It's just killer.
Well, that's a great story. Thank you so much for sharing that with the Wild West History Association. Jack was he was a fearless man.
He was my hero. Most Texans grow up with him being their hero.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you so much.
Fearless and proud on the Texas frontier, with courage and fire, you led without fear. With the devils of war on the Nueces tide, he stood like a stone while the bullets cried. Against all odds he never backed down, a hero in buckskin, no badge, no crown. Oh, ride, Captain Hays, through the mesquite and pine, your legend was forged in a rugged old time. They say when the thunder rolls out on the plains, it's Jack and his Rangers riding